In the half-term holidays, I went to London and visited the Tower of London and saw the Poppy Memorial. I have researched the Imperial War Museum, found out my grandpa's uncle died in the war, and learnt about conscription and women at war. The following presentation and handout tells you more about these areas, and we will finish with a quiz to test what you've learnt.
World War I conscription ended in 1990. For more than 100 years, both the government and British public have been against conscription. 1914 to 1950, these were the years of volunteering only. In August 1914, the British government called for an extra 100,000 soldiers to come forward. They got 750,000 men by the end of September, and by January 1950, more than 1 million had joined the armed forces.
This is an extract from the letter my great-uncle wrote after he joined up. The letter was sent shortly after his enlistment in 1916 from Harold Friedman, my great-grandma's elder brother. He was the eldest of 7 children. He enlisted before his 18th birthday to avoid conscription and choose which regiment he joined. He almost survived until the end of the war, but he was killed in August 1918 and is buried in France. This is the Leeds Power Shoulder Badge kept in the Imperial War Museum. On the 11th of October 1915, Lord Derby, who played a major part in raising volunteers, especially for the King's Regiment, was appointed Director General of Recruiting. Disappointed at the results of the Derby scheme, the government introduced the Military Service Act on 27th of January 1916. All voluntary enlistments were stopped.
Traditional family structure was completely changed by the First World War. Many married women were forced into the workplace by death of their husbands. Other women were drafted into industries that had been left with not enough workers by military conscription. Many more women did hard, heavy work, including shipbuilding and furnace stoking. These types of jobs had excluded women prior to the war. In July 1914, before the war broke out, there were 3.2 million women in employment. This had risen to 5 million by January 1918.
Women carried out the jobs that men were used to carrying out, including making weapons, carrying loads, and factory work. The war gave women a voice and led them to better equality and the right to vote. These are 2 World War I poems that made me feel how upsetting it was to go off to war. Please read through them in the handout I have passed around.
1914 is the year that World War I began. People then called it the Great War. We now know it as World War I. 100 years have passed since 1914, but we still remember that war. Remembrance is not a word we use every day. In everyday life we say remember, something like a friend's birthday, but remembrance is bigger than that. Remembrance is something that can be shared. That is why many people wear poppies as November the 11th draws near. The poppy is a sign of remembrance. It shows we have not forgotten what happened long ago to people in our own and other people's families.
These words are spoken on Remembrance Day. They shall grow not old, as we that are left to grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.